What's going on, everybody? Jolt here from TheTokenMinorities, and I am here with Season 3, Week 7 of the Major Pokemon League. This week against Dench and his Viridian Beedrills. Definitely take a look at his channel. It will be in the description below. Give him a look. He makes some pretty nice content, if I do say so myself. Now, let's jump into the team a little bit. He has been struggling a little bit this season. He, I believe, only has one win up until this point, but he's not a bad battler. I think he's just had a series of unfortunate events in terms of tilting and some unfortunate luck and just etc, etc. So it's not going to be an easy win by any means. Plus, he has Clefable on his team. And as you guys know, I have some special feelings toward Clefable in that I think it's amazing on any team that I draft, but I also don't exactly like when other people try to use it against me. So I'm going to have to teach him a lesson this week and make sure that Clefable does absolutely nothing against me. That will be part of my plan in my team build, which we'll get to here very soon. But let's go ahead and take a look at his roster. He has Latios, Rotomwash, Suicune, Gyarados, Clefable, Darmanitan, Fortress, Breloom, Cofagrigus, Tauros, and Meloetta. So his team is a little bit awkward, in my opinion, and I say awkward because he has that triple water core of Rotomwash, Suicune, and Mega Gyarados, which I personally see to be a little bit redundant in terms of he probably could have used those draft picks a little bit more efficiently, in my opinion. But even so, they're all pretty big threats in their own right, as Rotomwash is pretty hard to take down, Suicune is just disgustingly annoying, and Mega Gyarados hits very hard, especially after a Dragon Dance. So those are all things that are kind of difficult to prep for, although I believe I should be capable of doing just that this week. But the Latios and the Clefable both are certainly threats. No one's going to deny that. Latios can hit my entire team very, very hard outside of the likes of maybe an Octberry Scizor or Scarf Scizor or even Sylveon. Those would be my primary responses to a Latios most likely. But it's still a pretty big threat regardless because it can carry the coverage it needs to be able to hit both of those pretty hard. Granted, Sylveon probably cannot be hit super effectively by anything outside of like Steel Wing. I'm pretty sure it learns that, but Scizor certainly is susceptible to HP Fire, so that's just something to keep in mind whenever I'm building. In terms of Clefable, I've used it so many times in so many games in the past. I think I have a pretty good idea on how to make sure it doesn't become a threat. But it's still an amazing Pokemon. Obviously, in my opinion, one of, if not the best defensive Pokemon in the entire format. So it's not going to be easy to deal with that, to say the least. I just do feel like I have enough experience using it to know what its true weaknesses are. So that's kind of convenient here in this matchup. But even though I'm running a rain team, I still think Darmanitan's a pretty big threat to my team too, especially if I don't bring the rain, which is something I'm strongly considering the fact that he has 3 water types, one being Mega Gyarados, which I really don't want to have a +1 Dragon Dance with rain up, because Waterfall would hurt. Under those conditions, Waterfall would hurt quite a bit. But the biggest threat to my team is Breloom, as Breloom naturally is very, very good against rain teams. It's also naturally very good against my team because the combination of Mach Punch and Bullet Seed does a ton to essentially everything on my roster. I could try to use Sap Sip or Miltank. Mach Punch hits that really hard. Obviously, Bullet Seed is doing a ton to the likes of Dugtrio, Politoed, Mega Swampert, even Armaldo. Let's see what else. Life Orb Bullet Seed does a ton to Sylveon as well, and Life Orb Mach Punch is not something that Scizor wants to be handling either. Rock Tomb hits the Salamence and Thunder's Tea, etc. He has a lot of ways that he can beat me with Breloom, and coupling with that, it gets access to Natural Gifts. So that's just something that I'm very, very terrified of whenever I'm building for Dench's team, as Breloom just, it's a big, big issue, and basically I'm going to have to scout out what moves it brings in order to be able to beat it with whatever team I decide to bring. So definitely a big threat worth noting there. But in terms of my offensive threats to his team, I do think that the rain could be good. He does have the Rotom, so I can't really just run Swift Swim Mega Swampert offensively and expect to beat Rotom. I'm going to have to neuter that somehow, but the rain could be pretty good. Thunder's Tea is also very good considering he has no electric immunities, and his only electric resistances are both weak to Hidden Power Ice, or ice coverage in general. So Thundurus is definitely very solid offensively against him this week. Sylveon also, as always, is very, very good against him, as it appears his only resistance resistances to Fairy or Darm, and the Fortress isn't really an offensive threat by any means. I can easily just swap into something that doesn't mind Gyro Ball. and Darmanitan is going to take a lot, really, if it tries to switch in on a Hyper Voice from Sylveon, so I'm not really expecting that to be the case too often, and regardless, Darmanitan does get worn down by Stealth Rocks relatively quickly, as well as its own recoil. Other offensive threats from my team to his include the Serperior. I guess Serperior is really the last one that I really want to mention here, as Serp does a ton to his entire team. The only thing he has that can just switch in on that and ignore its existence is Unaware Clefable. And let's just say I have presence in mind for said Unaware Clefable that I fully anticipate this week. So with that said, let's go ahead and hop on over to the team builder real quick. And I do apologize in advance that this will not be a showdown team builder. It will instead just be on my 3DS, as of right now I have intentions to do this live as a live battle narration. So I'm pretty excited to do that, although also a little nervous, admittedly, considering I haven't done a live comm on a league battle at this point in my career. So it's going to be something a little bit new. I did want to give it a shot. I had the house all to myself today, so I figured it was a decent opportunity to give it a run and see how it goes. But as you can see now, here is the team that I decided to bring. We have Serperior, Thundurus, T, Scizor, Sylveon, Mega Swampert, and the Politoed. We'll open up the Serperior for you, and as you can see, this is actually designed to destroy Clefable. Any form of Clefable cannot beat this set, as I can taunt it to prevent setup or to prevent status moves, Leech Seed as it's most likely going to be an unaware variety, and if it's not unaware then I can spam Leaf Storm and beat it 1v1 anyways, and then Light Screen to make sure I can do all these gimmicky things and not be taken out by the likes of a Flamethrower or a Fire Blast. Leftovers to again help with my recovery, so this set is looking pretty nice this week in my opinion, and just a little bit of clarification on my investment on this set, outpacing base 110, so outpacing Tauros and the Latios, and then I have enough special defense investment to avoid being 2-hit KO'd by a 0 special attack Clefable's Flamethrower without the light screen up, so I thought that was pretty useful to have in case I can't afford to go directly for a light screen early in the exchange. And if he runs Fire Blast, I basically have to pray for a miss or get my light screen up early enough with Leech Seed to be able to survive against that. So that is the Serperior. The rest is just thrown to special attack for maximum damage with Leaf Storm. He really doesn't have great Leaf Storm switch-ins on his team. He could try to switch in Darm or Latios. Neither one really wants to risk the fact that I might have Dragon Pulse for one, and the only reason he'd switch in Darm is if he's Scarfed, and I'd love to get the excess damage on Darmanitan to help wear it down faster. So this thing is looking pretty darn good this week, if I do say so myself. Now, next up is the Thundurus T. This is Choice Scarf, Timid. We are outpacing a potential modest Scarfed Latios with this set. He has no Volt Switch immunities, so I could just click Volt Switch really with as often as I want to in this matchup, and I really fear nothing from it as long as rocks are not on the field. Thunderbolt, of course, because he has very few resistances to those. Sludge Wave, specifically for the Clefable, just in case Serperior isn't able to quite take it out, and then Dark Pulse for the Meloetta as well as for the Latios. I didn't really think I needed Hidden Power Ice this week, so Dark Pulse does a little more damage anyway, so I might as well bring that because it hits Meloetta as well. So next up is the Scizor. This is my dedicated switch into the Breloom. However, I do have to scout for the potential natural gift Fire, as he has run that in the past. I believe week 1 he used it against a Mega Scizor, so it's definitely possible here. It might be slightly less likely because I do have the potential to bring Rain, which would slow down the effects of natural gift Fire for sure. But just in case he does have it, I will have to scout around for it and probably switch into one of my bulky waters and then back into this. As with Safety Goggles, this is a pure counter to any Breloom, especially with Aerial Ace on this set. It's a pure counter to any Breloom that doesn't have natural gift Fire, and as long as I burn that berry early, then I'm in pretty good shape for this. This is a fully defensive set, Impish. It'll be able to eat up the hits pretty darn well, and we'll just kind of see how that goes. So then next up is the Sylveon. This is a mainly Fizdef Sylveon. This is not a mixed set, so I'm not quite able to implement the advice that Shoddy gave me on how to do Sylveon EV spreads or just mixed wall EV spreads in general, but I do think that just physical defense in general is very good against his team when he has so many things that hit on the physical side. For example, Latios' Psyshock is still going to hit on the physical side. If he wants to bring Psychic, Sylveon's natural special defensive bulk is able to eat that up anyways. Mega Gyarados obviously is most likely going to be a physical attacker. The Rotom doesn't hit hard enough to make me want to bring some special special defense investment on this. Clefable doesn't hit hard enough to make me want to do that either. Braylum hits on the physical side, Tauros on the physical side, Meloetta kind of mixed, probably going to, like, the most scary attack it could bring is like Psyshock for a specially defensive Sylveon, and that's just not something I'm too concerned about, honestly. So I think Sylveon's going to be able to support my team very well this week, and we'll just kind of see how that goes. But investment, I do have one extra speed point here just so I can creep Clefable. I don't think he'll run speed on Clefable. He'll probably go like mainly special defense to be able to counter the Superior. That would be my guess, and if he doesn't, well, he also would need high special defense to counter the Thunderous Tea, like a potential nasty plot Thunderous Tea, which otherwise destroys his entire team. So I'm pretty sure Unaware Clef, Spidef oriented, is going to come this week. I really see no reason why it wouldn't, but of course I have to respect all Clef sets because Clef is really good. So let's move on to the next mon. That is a Mega Swampert. This is again physically defensive. It's going to be a nice switch into the Darmanitan. It's also a pretty nice switch into the Mega Gyarados, perhaps, as I could roar it away if it's not a taunt variant, or I could go for a Scald if I absolutely had to get a last-ditch effort burn. And of course, this is my rocker, so I should be able to get up Stealth Rocks against a lot of his team with this mon. That's really the primary reason why I brought this. It's also nice for Darmanitan, certainly, but Stealth Rocks are of utmost importance to wear down the Darmanitan in this game, as well as potentially break Focus Sashes on his mons, like the Braylum is known to run Focus Sashes from time to time. Latios, I would like to have a Focus Sash broken if he decides to bring something like that. And yeah, so overall I think this will be pretty good this week. I just want to get Stealth Rocks up and then wall Darm with this. Basically, it's essentially max HP, max defense, maybe a little bit in Spidef, but yeah, I think it'll do its job. Next up is the Politoed. Yet again, we're running Water Absorb this week. I will run Drizzle at some point, I promise, but it just seems to best fit on my team as a Water Absorb wall. Even though I love to run Drizzle, I don't want to run Drizzle, actually, when he has a Mega Gyarados. So I think it's just safer overall for me to do this. This also gives me Guaranteed Switch into his Waterfall stab on the Gyarados, so he's forced to use Crunch, which, while that'll do a lot of damage to me, it's still nice to not have that flinch chance. And I can Perish Song really anything, including the Clefable. I can Perish Song the Mega Gyarados, Perish Song maybe a Calm Mind Latios, maybe a Calm Mind Meloetta. Yeah, maybe I could even trap the Darmanitan if he tries to get greedy and wear me down with Flare Blitzes. I don't know. There's a lot of things I can do with this set, but more or less this is just there to help prevent setup against my team. As my team this week I think is a little bit bulkier than I have run in the past, maybe a little bit. I have like 4 physical walls on this team, and then Thunderous and Superior, so I think it just makes a lot of sense to have that counter setup, that setup deterrent on my team to kind of help me along this week. But yeah, so that is the team. Let me know what you think of this team builder layout for whenever I decide to do another live comm in the future, as I know it wasn't quite as in-depth as what some of my others have been in the past, but I wanted to try something a little bit new with this video entirely, just to see how you guys like this setup. So let me know in the comments what you thought about this, and with that said, I will be right back once we get all set up with Dench for this battle. Alright, here we are with the match, and I guess we'll see how this goes. This is my first live comm, so definitely don't hate on me too much if this goes terribly, but we'll just kind of see what happens on this. I'm pretty excited though. I feel like I prepped pretty well for this match, and I guess we'll go ahead and start trying to dive into this thing to make sure I pick the right team here. It turns out I have, looks like 2 MPL teams here between my battle box and my party, so I need to make sure not to mess that up, but I think I got the right one here, and we'll go ahead and wait for Sir Dench to be ready. But good luck, my friend, and we'll see what happens on this one. Hopefully I can come out on top. This game is really important in terms of my playoff aspirations. If I can win this game, I'll get up to a 4-3 record and hopefully be in a good position in my division to make the playoffs at the end of the season. If I lose this game, it's going to be kind of complicated because the divisional race is so heated in terms of who's actually going to make the playoffs this season, as there's just a ton of teams that have about the same record I do, maybe a little better right now, but if I can win this game, I'll be right there in the thick of it. I'll be above 500 finally, and obviously that's going to be my goal here this week, as winning this game puts me in a pretty good position, I think, in terms of making the playoffs ultimately. So, okay. Just gotta wait for him to make up his mind here. He's probably doing his intro on his video right now, which is no big deal. But yeah, just gotta keep an eye on the potential Breloom and Clefable. Those two are kind of threats to me, to say the least. But I guess we'll see what he decides to bring. Latios potentially could be a threat if I let Sylveon get weakened. But, you know, I think I'll be okay. I think my prep is adequate in this game. And we'll just go ahead and pause until he decides to start things off here. Okay, I think he's ready. Let's go ahead and see what he decided to bring this week. And we'll go from there, I suppose. So it looks like he brought the Clefable, Fortress, Rotom Wash, Meloetta, Darmanitan, and Latios. So there's no Breloom here. That's something. Yeah, I wonder why he didn't bring Breloom. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure on that one, to be honest. I thought Breloom had a really good matchup against my team, certainly. So, yeah, okay, so there's no Breloom. That's nice to know. It looks like the biggest threats on his team, probably the Darmanitan and really the Clefable. If I can keep those two in check, I think I'll be in a good shape this game. I do feel like I've heavily prepared for everything that he did bring, so that's pretty nice. But in terms of my lead, I'm pretty sure Thundurus just makes a lot of sense here, just because Thundurus can Volt Switch on anything, kind of like I was talking about when I actually built the team, and so that I'm going to lead with Thundurus for sure, and I really see no downside in doing so, because if he leads with something that maybe... See, is there anything on his team that could threaten me if I lead with this? I don't think so, because the worst he could do is lead like Scarf Lottie, and in that case I can still go hard into Sylveon and not really fear anything, because he'll probably go... He could go for Draco, but if he's Scarf Lottie, then that won't do that much to Sylveon, even with the Psyshock. So definitely going to lead Thundurus here, and yeah, yeah, it should be in pretty good shape this match. I want to get Rocks up as early as possible, most definitely. He really doesn't have that threatening of a team here, in my opinion. Clef is just naturally threatening, but I have enough for that, I think. And outside of that, just keep the Darm in check, keep with Rocks up, and I think I can wear down his team pretty well here. I'm not seeing anything that's looking too scary. Breloom would have been quite threatening, and I guess with that in mind, Scizor is not as useful, I think, as it could have been before. But let's go ahead and lock this in, and let's see what he decides to lead with. So good luck, Dench. Let's see what happens here, as I will indeed be leading with my Thundurus Therian. Probably just going to Volt Switch on whatever he leads with, but I guess we'll see here shortly what he decides to do on that. Show me the Darm. Show me the Darm. That'd be nice. Get a nice Volt Switch off on that. That's Bogdan. I think that's his Darm. That's his Darm. Nice. Okay, cool. So, alright. My play is here. I could Thunderbolt. I couldn't de-Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt won't kill, though. And with that in mind, my only real play, I think, is the Volt Switch, because if I went for Thunderbolt on this, he goes for Flare Blitz, he could kill me, and I wouldn't really get to fully take advantage of this speed tier and his lack of immunities to Volt Switch. So Volt Switch, I think, is pretty clearly my play. Yeah, so Volt Switch incoming, and alright, oh, he does stay in, nice. Okay, so we're going to get off a chunk of damage against the Darm. He's almost definitely Choice Scarfed if he stayed in that situation. Either Choice Scarfed or Focus Sashed. I'm going to assume he's Choice Scarfed. I'm going to go ahead and Volt Switch straight out of there, though, and get a ton of damage off on that Darm. So now it really only has one switch into Rocks if it wants to ever click Flare Blitz. So that's pretty nice. I could definitely go into my Pert here, which I think is my best play, because that'll give me an opportunity to try to set up my Stealth Rocks on this, assuming he goes for a Flare Blitz on this turn. But he actually goes for a U-turn. Okay, interesting. Okay, so now he might get some momentum into something like his Latios if it has Energy Ball, or Meloetta if that has Energy Ball. He also could go Fortress to get up his Rocks early, maybe Toxic Spikes if he has those, as T-Spikes look pretty good against my team, actually, now that I think about it. But I guess we'll see what he decides to do here. I think I'd go Latios. I think I'd go Latios in his situation. Because Latios puts a lot of pressure on my team, especially if it's Life Orb, and Energy Ball plus Psyshock would do a ton to Sylveon. Maybe he could predict my switch into Sylveon and go for a Psyshock of his own, but I guess we'll see what he decides to do. Okay, so he goes into Bill, which is his Rotom. Interesting. Okay, so, you know, I could actually... I could switch. I could also stay in, potentially, as I don't think he'll have Hidden Power Grass. He might have Hidden Power Grass, so it's probably not smart, but I don't really care if I get Will-O-Wisp outside of, you know, like, I want this thing to be alive to take a hit from the Darm, take several hits from the Darm if I can, but is it worth letting myself get Wisp to get my Rocks up? It almost is, in my opinion, almost, but I don't think I need to make that play. I think I have better options though, because I could easily go Sylveon, expecting the Will-O-Wisp, and then I could pivot into my Thunderous Tea, expecting the Volt Switch. That's a play I could do, and actually that might be what I end up doing here. I don't really see a reason. Now, there's really no point in letting my Swampert get burned this early in the match. Maybe later on to get my rocks up I can make that sacrifice, but at this point I don't really see a reason to do that. So I'm going to go into Sylveon. I think that's my best play almost certainly, and you know, I'm expecting the Will-O-Wisp here, and I have the Heal Bell anyway, so if he does land it then I can just go ahead and Heal Bell that right off, and I'll be a-okay in that case. And he goes for Wisp, and he misses. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's nice. So now I don't have to burn a turn using Heal Bell, and so now my options, I guess, are to just go for a Hyper Voice, try to break the sturdy on potential incoming Fortress, maybe to take out the incoming Darmanitan, or I can get kind of cheeky and go straight into my Thunderous Tea, expecting the Volt Switch. I don't really see him going for anything but Volt Switch here. He could go for a Will-O-Wisp, but I don't think that's really, you know, worth it in his mind to take the Hyper Voice damage in exchange for burning a Sylveon that very well could have Heal Bell. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I want to go into my Thunderous here. It seems really safe, so let's go ahead and do that. And yeah, so let's see what happens here. I think Volt Switch is coming though. I feel like that's pretty obvious. If he goes for Hydro Pump against the Sylveon on this turn, then props to him. That's actually a really good play that I would not have expected. But I think we'll be okay, honestly. I think we're going to be okay here. And we'll just kind of see what he decides to do, as we are going to switch into Thunderous. And show me the Volt Switch, boys. Show me the Volt Switch. I think that's what he's going to do. Please do that. Excellent. Okay, so we got a Thunderous in there. We got the cheeky switch of the game in there early, and probably won't be trying to do that too much later on, as that's, you know, really risky in terms of keeping my Thunderous around later in the game. But I felt Volt Switch was pretty obvious there, so I thought it was a pretty good switch in. Now here, I'm really free to Volt Switch again. I could Thunderbolt and try to wear this down, but you know, I don't really see anything on my team that can benefit from that too much. Superior does a ton to it anyways. Sylveon, you know, to an extent could benefit from that, but he can just Pain Split up on me anyways, potentially. Let's see. You know, Mega Swampert, it's nice if Rotom is weakened for Mega Swampert, but Mega Swampert's not a sweeper. All it has is Scald in terms of its offenses, and I'm going to Toxic this thing later on anyways, potentially, or hopefully. So, you know, I'm pretty sure Volt Switch is my best play, so yeah, so that's what we're going to do here. And, okay, so he's actually going to withdraw. Interesting. So he's going to switch into Mimi, which is the Meloetta. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see how much this does. This definitely could be an Assault Vest variant. Let's see. That actually didn't do much at all. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Assault Vest damage. I should calc that real quick. Just a second. Okay, yeah, that's Assault Vest. And okay, yeah. So if that's Assault Vest, then my play is probably Sylveon. Sylveon can eat up anything from this, certainly, if it's Assault Vest. Another play I could do is go Scizor and try to scout for Hidden Power Fire, just to know, like, you know, how safe Scizor is going to be against this thing in the future. That might be a better play, actually. Because Scizor is not, like, super useful anyways in this match, but, you know, if I know I'm able to wall the Meloetta with Scizor too, then it might give it a little bit more utility. So I'm going to go into Scizor here and just kind of see what he wants to go for by, you know, switching straight back out into my Sylveon here. I think that's just my best play, and that'll give me a little bit of information about Meloetta, because this move pool really is pretty extensive, so it's nice to have the information as to what he's capable of going for, and, you know, Scizor having that really painful 4x weakness, it's nice to have a good idea as to what he's going to try to do here. Now, one thing is he could definitely predict me to be Scarfed. If he predicts me to be Scarfed, I'd probably go into Fortress, which, that's not great in terms of pulling the double into Sylveon, but it's not terrible either. So I mean, yeah, I'm gonna go with Sylveon anyways. I think it's fine. It's not a huge deal. I'm pretty sure he'll have HP Fire. Like, why wouldn't he bring HP Fire when I have a Scizor? I mean, granted, it's against a rain team. He definitely has Energy Ball, Psyshock, Hyper Voice, almost definitely. It's a matter of what that last coverage move is, and you know, it could be something like No, he probably is Hidden Power Fire. It sure looks like it, given what my team structure could be. So he probably has HP Fire, but we're just going to go into Sylveon here and scout for it anyways. I think it's a little bit smarter. Okay, so it looks like he's going to switch out, so he probably was fearing the Scarf Scizor, which is fine. No big deal there, as he's going to go into Bill, which is his Rotom Wash, so that's fine. I'm going to actually be in a pretty nice position here with Sylveon in against this. This is a free Hyper Voice if I've ever seen one, as I really don't care if I get Will-O-Wisp, I can just Heal Bell it off later on. So I'm probably just going to go over the Hyper Voice here. I don't think there's another play I should try to go for. Okay, so actually, I think what I'm going to do here is go for the Protect, as Protect will allow me to scout if this is a Trick Rotom, and that's pretty important, because I don't really want my Sylveon to get tricked in this game, as it's really, really important in taking on the Meloetta and the Latios, so I'm going to go for Protect here, actually, and that will hopefully put me in a pretty good position here, just in case he goes for the Trick. As if he goes for the Trick, then I can go straight into my Swampert and take advantage of it that way, which is pretty nice to get my Rocks up in that situation. So, yeah. Okay, so we get off the Protect, and let's see what he goes for. Show me the Trick. Show me the Trick. I know you might have it. Okay, he goes for Wisp, so he's probably not choiced. That's good information to have for sure. He's, almost certainly a defensive Fizz-Def Rotom for the potential Mega Swampert in the rain, so this just confirms that, I guess. It was good to check anyways, but I really don't fear this thing, so I definitely could just stay in and click Hyper Voice. Yeah, he just doesn't have the switch-ins to Hyper Voice on his team, so Sylveon just puts in a lot of work against him, most certainly. I'm pretty sure that's what I'll end up doing, though, as yeah, I don't really see a better play. So let's go ahead and do Hyper Voice and lock that in, and we'll see what he decides to do. Okay, so he actually withdraws, so that's not really a surprise here, as he doesn't want to let his Rotom get weakened in case I am an offensive Swampert, and he goes into Meloetta, so this further proves that it's going to be an Assault Vest variant, especially, let's see, yeah, that's Assault Vest damage, most definitely. So we've got an Assault Vest Meloetta that we're working with, which, it's kind of interesting that he went into it here against Sylveon, because, I wall this. This is like my switch into Meloetta, so, like, I might as well, I think I can just stay in. Like, I really lose nothing. I probably, see, I could Wish. I definitely could Wish here. And I say that because even though this thing probably won't do that much damage to me, it's good to know how much it can do, and I also really need to keep this at high health to deal with his Latios, as my team really is pretty weak to Life Orb offensive Latios overall, especially because my Scizor doesn't have Bullet Punch this week. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to need to Wish. Yeah, I think I want to Wish on this turn. Yeah, I don't really see a better play, I don't think. Yeah, I don't really see a better play here, so I'm going to Wish, just to make sure that it's all safe here, and I don't really see a way that he can take advantage of that play, so I think that's just my best option. So we are going to go for the Wish here. And we'll see what he decides to go for. He goes for the Psyshock. Okay, so we can kind of gauge how much investment this thing actually has a special attack. That did nothing. Oh my, that did nothing. So it's probably like max HP, like speed creeping something, and then like the remainder in special attack, because that did very little. And Meloetta is not that much of a slouch in terms of its offenses, so that's fine. We got the Wish off. We're honestly in a very safe spot right now. A lot of ways I could take this. I could switch into my Swampert here and try to get my Rocks up on whatever his likely switch in is. That's somewhat risky in case he wants to go. Well, it's not really risky. It's actually not a bad play. I'm kind of tempted to Wish Pass into my Swampert, but I also know that I need my Sylveon to be at like max health, essentially, to make sure I can beat a Life Orb Latios, or even Choice Specs locked into Psyshock. So, I probably shouldn't do that. I probably want to make sure, like, leave Sylveon in here and just go for the Hyper Voice, I imagine, would be my best play. I don't really want to go for Protect. No reason to do that. This thing's not really a threat to me. Even if it crits me, I'll survive. So, I'm pretty sure my play then is just to go for the Hyper Voice. Yeah, I don't really see another play, so we're going to go over Hyper Voice, and we're going to lock that in, and let's see what happens. Okay, so he goes for Psy Shock again. Okay, that's fine. Just don't crit me, please. I'd like to be at high-ish health. That'd be wonderful. Okay, no crit. And we get off some damage with this Hyper Voice. Let's see what we get. You know, that actually... It kind of looked like a little more damage than last time. I'm still pretty sure this is Assault Vest. Otherwise, he would have, you know, gone for anything else at this point. I haven't seen him click Calm Mind. I feel like Calm Mind could have been pretty decent against the squad I brought, but Hyper Voice does a good amount of damage. We get the health back from the Wish, so we're sitting in a pretty good spot at the moment. I think my play again, though, is probably to Wish, just because I want to be at maximum health. I could go for Hyper Voice again, but if he double crits me, that would kind of suck, you know. If he gets 2 crits with Psy Shock, that pretty sure would have a good shot of taking me out. Not really something I want to be dealing with, to say the least. So, yeah, you know, I'm pretty sure my play again is to Wish. I'm pretty sure my play is to Wish because, you know, while it's nice to get the damage off, like a Hyper Voice damage off against his switch in, it's also better long term to not be in danger of losing to, you know, even a Dragon Dance, Gladios, or just Life Orb, Specs. Psy Shock can do a ton to Sylveon, you know, especially if he gets crits with those and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm just trying to play to the best odds possible. I don't want to be at risk of losing to a crit or something. So yeah, so that's what I'm gonna go for here. And let's see what he decides to do here. I imagine he'll eventually try to go into a Fortress or something. Like, Fortress seems like his best switch into something like this, and I'm just kind of waiting for him to do it. He goes into Maribel, which is... okay, it's Clefable. Interesting. So let's see how much this does. It's nice to get damage off on Clef, but, you know, we're going to go for the Wish first, and then we'll probably just be able to go straight for the Hyper Voice. That would be wonderful now, just to get the Hyper Voice off against this, kind of scout what kind of set he is. We don't really know. You know, Clef could do so many things here, and we don't have Rocks up yet, so we can't really determine if this is Magic Art or Unaware quite yet, but we do kind of need to know what set it is before we know how to use our Superior. So, you know, I'm pretty sure Hyper Voice is the play here, although if he goes for a Calm Mind, that could be a little bit annoying. I have Perish Song on Politoed, so that can definitely handle that pretty well, I would say. And I also have Roar on Swampert if I need to, and you know, that's something I definitely could consider here, is I could try going into Swampert and knowing that, you know, unless he has Energy Ball, I should be able to take any 2 hits and I can get up my Rocks and then roar him out if he goes for a Calm Mind or something. So that's definitely a play I could consider. I'm just not really sure if it's really worth it, considering he could have Energy Ball that could severely weaken my Swampert, and that would really lessen my switch-ins to Scarf or Manitans. So probably not my best play. I would say my best play is to go for a Hyper Voice here, though, just to get that damage off on the Clefable. I have an incoming Wish anyway, so it's not really that risky. Another play is potentially to go straight into Politoed, just get the Perish Song up if I'm really expecting it to be a, yeah, I'm going to do this. Just in case he goes for Calm Mind, I think it's better to go straight into this, just because Hyper Voice won't be doing that much damage to it anyways. I think it's just smarter overall to go into this just to make sure it can't really get out of hand, and we can see what kind of set it is right up front before, you know, just needlessly clicking Hyper Voice against it. He goes for a Wish, though. That's kind of interesting. So he's going to be probably Wish Protect. He's probably Unaware. Almost certainly an Unaware Clefable then, in that case, as there's really very few reasons to not run Soft Boiled unless you are Unaware. Considering Unaware and Soft Boiled are incompatible. So, okay, we see Wish. So he's probably Unaware. And, you know, my best play is probably to Scald here, just in case he wants to go into Darm. I don't want him to be able to patch the Wish into Darm, and if he wants to go into Meloetta, maybe I could burn it at least. And if I burned it, it's fine, yeah, because I just need to be able to wear it down, keep Sylveon at high health, and that can handle the Meloetta. So we're going to go ahead and click Scald here, as I would imagine he's trying to get something healed up. You know, probably the Darm, although you can't really heal up Darm against the Politoed, so best of luck with that one if that's what he decides to do, but I'm pretty sure Scald is the best call here, as there's really nothing that switches in cleanly against this. He could go Rotom, I guess, but if I get a burn on that, that'd be pretty awesome too. Obviously, I think I prefer a Toxic on it with my Swampert later on, so that Sylveon can stall that a little bit faster, but, you know, burn wouldn't be bad necessarily, because Hyper Voice still does a ton to Rotom. So yeah, I guess we'll see what he decides to do here, but it's not going to be passing into Darmanitan, I can tell you that much, and please go to Darm, please go to Darm. Golden Eeps. That is the Fortress. Okay. Show me the burn. Give me a burn. Is my water hot today? Let's go. Burn it. Burn it. Ah, yeah, not bad. Okay, cool. So we burned the Fortress, and I am not sorry at all. So, The water is hot, something to keep in mind this game. It looks like I might be able to get a few burns, but we broke the sturdy on the fortress, so that's pretty awesome. He probably was trying to keep the sturdy intact, and that play tells me that this might be a custom set. Something definitely to keep in mind later on. I guess we can see if he has leftovers here. He could also be Ockenberry potentially. That would make a little bit of sense as well. But let's go ahead and pull a switch straight into my my Swampert here. This will give me a chance to get up my rocks, and I don't really fear anything he goes for. And, you know, as I mentioned before, rocks are super important in this game in terms of keeping the Darmanitan in check, and this will also give me the opportunity to Mega Evolve with this, so that's pretty nice. And, you know, I'm not even fearing Hidden Power Grass. I guess it'd be worst case scenario in terms of what this Fortress can do to my Swampert, so definitely going to go ahead and Mega Evolve. And, you know, I could go for Scald here potentially if I'm expecting the switch. I mean, he's not going to go into Darm. That'd be really dumb. He could go into Rotom. He probably will go into Rotom, actually. But yeah, I think Stealth Rock. Stealth Rock is still my best play. I could go for Toxic the next turn if I'm really feeling risky, you know, against the Rotom. I think it's, yeah, let's go for Stealth Rock. We'll see what he decides to do at that point. Okay, so he actually switches out. So that's no surprise, I guess. He probably is going to go into Rotom. Show me the Rotom. Bill, I believe, was the Rotom. Yeah, there's the Rotom. Okay, so we got our rocks up. That's nice in terms of keeping the Darm in check. It's also nice to break the potential Sash on the Latios. Unlikely, but possible. It is draft format, so anything is possible, and that's pretty awesome. Now, here on this next turn, I probably can stay in. Since Darm only has like one Flare Blitz left after Stealth Rock, I probably can afford to let this get burned now. And I think that's okay. We can go straight for the Toxic. I really don't lose anything by doing so. So I think Toxic is my best play here. I'm specially oriented anyways in terms of my offenses, so getting burned really isn't that bad in terms of anything but residuals. So we're gonna go for Toxic as he goes for the Will-O-Wisp. He does land it, unfortunately for us. That'd be nice to dodge that Will-O-Wisp too, but we're not gonna be that lucky around here. That'd be a little bit insane. But we do land the Toxic, so good. So now the Rotom is neutralized, I would say, as now it's easily stalled out by Sylveon, and that was the goal. I can probably relatively easily get rid of this burn with my Sylveon later on too. So yeah, that worked out pretty well, I think, for us. Now, now what do we got? So his play is probably Hydro Pump. Yep, his play is probably Hydro Pump. So what can we do? You know, Serperior. Yeah, Serperior makes a lot of sense here, actually, as I'm not really fearing a Volt Switch. He's not going to Volt Switch. I think Hydro is his best play, like almost certainly. I definitely could go Serperior here. He's not going to Double Wisp. He might. No, he could Double Wisp. He certainly could Double Wisp, but, you know, Sylveon could get rid of that later on, potentially. So that's not too big of an issue, I would say. But let's go Sylveon just to be safe. I think I can go maybe Serperior into this later on in a similar circumstance. I don't think it'll be that hard to get Serperior in for free. I just would like to keep Serperior at maximum health just in case he's an unaware Clefable. We need to confirm what kind of set he is first, I believe. And so we go straight into this. He does go for Hydro Pump, so we can kind of scout if this is more defensive now or more offensive. And that, whoa, that did a lot. This might have some offensive investment, actually. It could also be Splash Plate. I haven't seen leftovers, so it could be Splash Plate. You know, Splash Plate might be right. It's either offensive or defensive Splash Plate, I think. That might be offensive Splash Plate damage, but it would make sense for him to bring Splash Plate against my team so that he can hit my Mega Swampert as hard as possible without running Hidden Power Grass. So that is quite possible against my team. That also lets him hit my Scizor pretty hard too, without having had Hidden Power Fire. So I could definitely see if that's Splash Plates. I think that's what he probably is. Yeah, so I'm going to protect here, as I think he's going to try to Volt Switch. This will give me the chance to get a little bit of health back, and, you know, it's really not, there's not much of a risk associated with it. I don't want him to be able to crit me and take me out with the Hydro Pump, as I think after the Protect I should be outside of crit range. It's going to be kind of tight, but this is a risk I do have to take. I think I need to go for the Wish now on this following turn, because I do need this to be as high of health as possible for the Lati and the Meloetta. So, Wish seems like the pretty obvious play here. And I think it's a play I have to make. Yeah, Yeah, I think this is the play I have to make. I really don't lose anything by doing it either. So I am just going to go ahead and go for the wish here. I'm pretty sure, as yeah, there's nothing wrong with this play. So we're gonna go for wish and get some health back here pretty soon, as he probably is going to go for the Volt Switch or the Will-O-Wisp. He actually just hard switches, so that's interesting. I would have gone for Volt Switch in his position, I think, but I guess he was expecting the Thundurus almost certainly, so that's fine. He goes into Clefable. Okay. So okay, so it's Magic Guard. Okay. So what's his Serp counter? Huh. Did he bring nothing for Offensive Superior? AV Meloetta. Latios. Yeah, he's... This man is very, very weak to Offensive Superior. It's a shame I didn't bring Offensive Superior this week. I brought more of a Stall Breaker oriented, but... Okay, so... Well, good to know. Very good to know. So he has Magic Guard. Superior can set up Leaf Storms in its face, and I can do a lot of work with that for sure. Okay, so... You know, my play now is probably just a Hyper Voice. He might go for like a Thunderbolt, expecting my switch into Politoed. That's why I'm thinking Hyper Voice might be a little bit smarter this time around. Yeah, I think... Like, I have the Wish active, so he might go for Calm Mind if he has it, but I'm going to go for Hyper Voice here and just kind of see what he wants to do. I think that's my best play, and if he sets up a Calm Mind, I can go hard into Politoed and Perish Song, and it won't be a problem. I'm almost confident I outspeed. Considering my Sylveon outspeeds this, my Politoed definitely does, so I can definitely go for Perish Song next turn if I need to. That does a decent amount of damage. I think he's like mixed defenses, as he goes for Calm Mind, so a little bit threatening, to say the least, but, you know, I have my responses for it, so we'll be okay in that regard, but that's, that doesn't look like a Spidef set by any means, so this is not at all a superior answer. So he has nothing for Offensive Superior. Okay. Well, I'm at full health now, so that's pretty nice. And, you know, it's a threat, so I'm going to go straight into Politoed. I think it's my best play. He could predict me and go for T-Bolt. I should be able to eat up any two of them. He's not a Life Orb set, so let's go into Politoed here. And we're just going to click Perish Song immediately as soon as Politoed gets in here, as I don't really have another play right now. And, yeah, like, Clefable's not like a huge threat to my team. It's just naturally a threat. And I have several ways to deal with it. I just don't want it to try to set up in Sylveon's face. That's just something that's not too wise of me to allow, especially considering the majority of the Pokemon I brought are actually pretty specially oriented in terms of their offenses. So I need to make sure it doesn't get too many Calm Minds. So that's why Politoed is here this week. So that's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna see what he decides to do on this turn, as Politoed will be coming in. And let's see what he decides to do. I'm kind of expecting him to go for a Moonblast here. That would be the play I would make, I think. But let's see what he does. He goes for a Wish. Okay. Interesting. So he's probably Wish, Protect, Calm Mind, Moonblast. I think it'd have to be Moonblast against my team. It hits almost everything except the Scizor, so he's probably Wish, Protect, Calm Mind, Moonblast. That's fine. That is fine. But we are going to click Perish Song because we don't want to deal with this. And, okay, yeah, so with the Wish active, it might be better to just go for a Scald. Then again, this thing's such a big threat. It probably... yeah, I'm gonna go for the Perish Song. I think it's smarter, and yeah, I'm gonna go for Perish Song. And if he wants to Wish Pass into Darm, more power to him, but that's just so risky on his end. I don't really see him doing it. Yeah, because I went for Scald last time, so like I'm almost definitely going for Scald again, right? So I'm going to go for Perish Song, just in case he stays in and tries to just set up in my face. As it goes into the Fortress. Okay, that's fine. So this thing could have Volt Switch. That could be potentially why I brought it in. Like, this man gens my teams almost every week, so he knows my sets. He knows I like to bring this Perish Song Whirlpool thing. And when he sees Perish Song here, you know, he's thinking, okay, this man might have Whirlpool. I don't want to lose my Fortress, so he probably is going to switch. But I can't really take that for granted either. I don't know. I'd like to think that Whirlpool is still my best play. I think Whirlpool is my best play. Still. Because I don't fear anything if he goes into Darm. I don't fear anything if he goes into Meloetta. Quite honestly, if I hit Meloetta with that, I can just kill it. Because I don't think it can 3-hit KO me. I definitely could go into Swampert to ensure my rocks stay up. Definitely an option I could consider. But I'm pretty sure I want to Whirlpool. Yeah. I think Whirlpool is my play. And we're going to go ahead and lock that in. Okay, so he actually decides to switch out, so he definitely was expecting the Whirlpool. And let's see what he goes into. He goes into Bill, which is the Rotom. It's the Rotom. Okay, so good play on his part. This will allow him to avoid being trapped by the Whirlpool because he does have Volt Switch. So that kind of sucks, but it's also okay for me because we revealed earlier that he doesn't have leftovers, so he's taking Whirlpool damage, Toxic damage, as well as further Whirlpool damage on this turn. So this thing is just getting whittled, which is really, really nice for the rest of my team, especially for the Sylveon. As Sylveon can really capitalize on a Rotom that's super weakened. So Parish count falls to 2. Something to keep in mind, I'm the only one that's being timered right now. The Rotom is not on a timer. So my best play here, I could go into Swampert, so that would be able to eat up both the Volt Switch and the... that's actually not a bad play. I could go into Swampert, but he revealed to potentially be like Splash Plate or Mystic Water, Hydro Pump, so it might not be my best play either. Also, he might go for Pain Split. Pain Split makes a lot of sense, actually, on this turn. So I think, I think now I might go Superior. We know that, yeah, we know Clef. Yeah, we know Clef is Magic Guard, not unaware. So Superior is my play because he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna Wisp. He's not gonna Wisp because if he Wisps here, he is going to take Whirlpool damage, Toxic damage, and potentially die to his Scald. So he's not going to make that play. He is going to Volt Switch or he's going to Pain Split. I think he's going to Pain Split here. So I think that I'm going to go into Superior. I have the leftover, so I'll be able to eat back up a lot of that recovery or a lot of that health here, and then I'll be able to fire off a Leaf Storm, and he has just no switch-ins because Fortress cannot take 2 of them, especially when he's burned. He can't do any damage to me at all with Explosion or Gyro Ball or Payback or whatever his offensive option happens to be. And he goes for Pain Split. Okay, good. Alright, good. So, okay, so that does, not very much to me. That's good. That's fine. So this is a free Leaf Storm, right? I have no reason not to click Leaf Storm. I could click Leech Seed, but there's really no point. Yeah, I think Leaf Storm is my play. Yeah, like the threat is in. So the threat is here. Let's go ahead and show why he's a threat to this team. I really wish I was offensive, though. If I was offensive, Life Orb, Leaf Storm, Hidden Power Fire, Dragon Pulse, and swept his team like at team preview. So I'm a little bit upset that I didn't do that. I only have 5 Leaf Storms. Okay. That's important. All right. So I have 5 Leaf Storms. I need to get that corrected in the future. I would like to have 8. Definitely when I'm a Mono Leaf Storm Superior. So I only have 5 hits. I only have 5 hits. Okay. I think I'm still going to click it. Still my best play. Most definitely. And yeah, that's my best play. I think he's going to go into Fortress, though. Like Fortress or... Nah, that's his only switch, and his only switch is Fortress, so that's what he's going to do here almost certainly, unless he wants to sack Rotom. He doesn't really know my Swampert set yet, outside of like Rocks and Toxic, I believe. Well, that kind of indicates it's more defensive. He might sack this. I don't know. He might sack this. It's an okay play to sack. It's okay. I would probably go Fortress if I were him, but the likelihood of Hidden Power Fire is pretty high. If I had Hidden Power Fire and Dragon Pulse, this would be over right now as a 6-0, but fortunately for him, it's not, and we're not going to be able to quite take him out quite yet. But I'm pretty sure he'll go into his Fortress here, unless he's like a Scarf Latios. If he's a Scarf Latios, he could go hard into that here. That'd be pretty safe, but he does decide to switch. Let's see if he goes into Fortress. That is what I'm expecting. Golden Eeps is the Fortress, so we're going to get off some nice damage against this. Going to take Rock damage, Leaf Storm damage, and Burn damage, and we're going to also recover some health with leftovers. So this turn was very nice for us, most certainly. And let's see how much this does. Not much. Not much. Could be a little bit specially defensive. No, I think Serp's just that weak. So not a big deal whatsoever. We are essentially free to click Leaf Storm again. Because he's burned, he can't do much damage to me at all. Leaf Storm would put him in Custab range, unfortunately, but I'm pretty sure I can survive Gyro Ball plus Custab Explosion when he's burned. I'm pretty sure. Let me count real quick. Gyro Ball does nothing, basically, so Explosion won't do very much at all, either. So we should be in good shape. Yeah, we should be in good shape to just go ahead and click the Leaf Storm again. And even if he's put into a Cut Step Berry range, I think we'll be okay regardless. Superior isn't as necessary to be at maximum health this game, just because it's not an unaware Clefable. I don't need to be at high health to 1v1 it. I can just click Leaf Storm repeatedly on Clefables and be just okay. I also still have the Perish Stomp Polytoad at maximum health to be able to beat the Clefables, so I think I can just Leaf Storm here freely without having to be too concerned. The only real concern here is my PP on this. I would have, liked to have 7 more instead of 4, but I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be alright, for sure. So we are going to go ahead and Leaf Storm this fortress. And let's see how much it does. So maybe we can get a crit and just knock this thing out without having to worry about the Cut Step. That'd be nice. So we do not get the crit. Let's see what he goes for. Maybe like Toxic Spikes? That'd really suck. Oh, Gyro Ball. Okay, cool. So it does... Let's see. Yeah, 0. That actually looks like it's more physically offensive, which is interesting. That's a little more than what the calc was telling me it would do for a defensive set, I'm pretty sure. So it's probably more physically offensive, meaning Explosion might do a little more than I was expecting initially, but I don't think Explosion will do 50% when he's burned. I really don't. Fortress is not that strong naturally. It's not that strong when it's burned. So I think I should be able to handle that. Now my question is, do I burn a Leaf Storm in the process to go to +6, or do I set a Light Screen on this turn? Because when this goes down, he'll probably go into his Darm and check me. So there's no point in going for Leaf Storm. We're going to go for Light Screen here, as this will ensure that he can't go into his Latios and wreak havoc immediately after this goes down. He has Cut Step Explosions, so no surprise, I guess. I kind of saw that coming, but let's just see how much it does. Hopefully I can survive and get off this Light Screen. That'd be wonderful. That does like 60. Not bad. Not bad. Superior hanging on with 0 defense and 0 HP investment, so that's pretty awesome for sure. I get up the Light Screen as well, so that's up for 5 turns, 1 turn down, 4 to go. And alright, so he has to check me with Darm. He has to check me with Darm. He doesn't know that I don't have Dragon Pulse. He can't go into Latios unless he's Scarfed. He has to go Darm. So that'll be the play he has to make, because Clefable's not unaware. It does not want to take a +4 Leaf Storm at all. He has to go Darmanitan. He doesn't have another play. This thing is such a big threat to his team. If I were offensive, it would be so over right now. But, oh well. I guess he still has Darm to check me if I were offensive, but I also would have taken out the Fortress without taking all that extra damage if I were offensive. So he lucked out a little bit on that one. It could have been a little bit ugly, but... And Surf is actually kind of good in the format. I'm kind of surprised because it's really one-dimensional, but Contrary is hard to prep for, apparently. Very hard to prep for, and it has dual screens, Leech Seed, Glare, all these cool utility moves, so it's a pretty good mon. I'm enjoying using it quite a bit. Not going to lie on that. So it's taken him a while to click Darmanitan. Pretty sure Darm is his play. He could try to go Meloetta, but AV Meloetta after rocks, like at the range it's at, it's not going to take a Leaf Storm, so he needs to go into Darm and check me. He definitely needs to go into Darm. Okay, I guess we'll wait a minute and see what he decides to do. Okay, so he does go into Bogdan, which is the Darmanitan, so it's going to take rocks damage, which is very nice, as now he is probably in range of recoil from his own Flare Blitz if I switch in one of my bulky waters, so that's my play most certainly. We already know he's Choice Scarfed, otherwise he would not have tried to attack my Thunderous turn 1 and taken all that damage from my Scarf Thunderous, so that's pretty awesome here, as now I'm just going to be able to go straight into my Swampert or my Politoad or my options. I need Politoad at pretty much max health to make sure I can beat a Calm Mind Clefable with it. And Swampert's really not doing that much at this point in the game, especially because I brought it for the Darmanitan and to get up Stealth Rocks. It's done its job of putting up Stealth Rocks, so let's go ahead and go into my Swampert here, and we'll eat up this Flare Blitz. I think after at least 2 Flare Blitzes, Darm would obviously knock itself out to recoil. I'm hoping that it'll knock itself out with just 1, so I can keep my Swampert around. Yeah, so I can keep my Swampert around later, maybe pick up the nice 6-0 if this goes as planned, but, I probably shouldn't be thinking in terms of 6-0s at this point. It's still very early in the battle, despite the fact that we're, 35 minutes into it already, so it's a pretty long match, probably because we both have Wish Passers on our team. We're able to keep our teams alive. My team is just naturally very fat, and I haven't even used the full extent of its fatness in the Roost Scizor, so And then Leech Seed Superior is not really doing its Leech Seeding thing either because he didn't bring the Unaware Clef, but regardless, I do think that he's clicking Flare Blitz almost certainly. If he goes U-turn, it's not really doing anything for him. He'll basically tell himself that he has to defog with Lottie, which isn't really going to be super easy for him against my team. So I'm just going to go into Swampert here, expecting the Flare Blitz, and I'm just going to hope that he takes himself out with the recoil. So let's see what he decides to do. Show me the Flare Blitz, sir. Show me the Flare Blitz. And he goes for the Flare Blitz. Alright, cool. So, that won't do very much to me, especially because he's Scarfed. If he was Bandit, I would still survive, and he would definitely take himself out with recoil. I survive on 86 plus burn damage, so that's fine. I think, does he go down? Is he down? No. Okay. So he's still around. Man, that sucks. Okay, so we're probably going to lose Swampert here, which is fine. That's not a huge deal. I don't need it anymore for this game. It's done its job. Got up rocks, walled our Manitan until it died. So we're just going to go ahead and click, I think, Roar. I think Roar is my play in case he wants to switch for some reason. I could go for Scald and make sure that I hit something that comes in, but he might want to go Rotom. He definitely could go Rotom here and try to heal up if he's like Resto Chesto. Or did we already see Pain Split? I think we already saw Pain Split. He went for Pain Split against the Superior, so he's not Resto Chesto. Okay, he's not Resto Chesto, so he's not going to go Rotom. So I think Roar is my better play here. Yeah, definitely going to go Roar, just in case he doesn't go for Flare Blitz here. But he does go for Flare Blitz. That will probably take out the Swampert if Burn does not have to do it for him. Let's see. Yeah, Burn's going to take me out after 9, so no big deal. Darm does go down, though, so that's pretty awesome. Unfortunately, I don't think I get credit for a kill with that with my Swampert, so he has 2 suicides right now, and I don't have any kills in this game, which is kind of dumb, but not a huge deal, as I do lose my Swampert here to the Burn. But just kind of looking at what he has left, he's so weak. So weak to Sylveon, so weak to Thundurus. I really do see those two being the win cons this game, especially at this point. And that's not really surprising. Even the Superior is looking really good too. His Fortress is gone, and he's probably going to be scared to go into his Latios against me without knowing my set. So every time I get Serpent for free against Rotom, that's a free Leaf Storm, which is, with Rocks Up, going to really take a toll on his team. So that's pretty awesome, most certainly. But in terms of this double down, I think Sylveon has the best matchup against his whole team, so that's probably what I want to do here. He can't really... Yeah, just in case he goes Latios, I think I want to go into Sylveon in this blind situation. I could go Scizor and U-turn on something, but I think Sylveon's my better play in terms of preserving differential. So we're going to go into Sylveon, and I kind of anticipate him going into his Rotom to try to get off a Pain Split against something like my Scizor or so. It's very possible, most definitely, but Sylveon beats Meloetta, beats Latios, beats Rotom at this range. It can also handle Clefable decently well, or at least I have options against Clefable if worst comes to worst. So going to go into Sylveon, and we'll see what he decides to do here while I get some Wata. Okay, so he goes into Maribel, which is the Clefable. Okay, so maybe he expected the Sylveon. That's possible. He might have expected the Sylveon here. Good news is, though, I know I outspeed this unless he also is speed creeping my Sylveon. Like, I have 1 extra speed stats on my Sylveon to outpace a defensive Clefable, since they are the same speed tier. So what I can do is go for Hyper Voice, potentially. Could also go straight into Politoed. Both are pretty viable options, honestly. Excuse me. We do know that the Hyper Voice does a good chunk to the Clefable, most certainly, so I definitely could just go for that. As probably... is that the play I want to do? Yeah. I think it's fine. Like, I'm kind of scared of Calm Mind. Kind of scared of Calm Mind Clef, just because Calm Mind Clef is Calm Mind Clef. But, you know, I can always check it with Perish Song Politoed. So it's not a huge deal by any means. Okay, we're going Hyper Voice. We're locking it in, and let's see what happens. And we do get off the Hyper Voice. Let's see how much we can do. Good amount, actually. That's a very good amount. As Clef is now severely weakened. That's actually in range of another Hyper Voice. I think that might be in range of another Hyper Voice. So here he's basically forced to reveal Protect if he has it. He could try to Wish Pass. Would he want to Wish Pass? No, he needs Clef. He needs Clef alive to have any chance against Sylveon, so he's got to Protect here if he has it. But the question is, do I predict him to have Protect? Because that's not something that I can take for granted. He might not have Protect. And if he doesn't have Protect and they go into something that, you know, takes a ton for Moonblast, that would really suck too. I'm going to Hyper Voice though. I think Hyper Voice is my best play. Keep the pressure on him. Let's see if he has the Protect. I don't know if he does. Let's just see what he wants to do here. If he has Protect, he'll go for it here though, almost certainly. He switches. Okay, so no Protect Clefable. So Wish, probably no Protect. Calm Mind. It's got to have Moonblast. Has to have Moonblast against my team. No reason not to. We get off a Hyper Voice. Can we get the crit and just take this out and not have to deal with it any longer? We do not get the crit. Okay. It's fine. No big deal whatsoever. He gets some health back, but he's still not a threat to my Sylveon at all. Like this thing can't touch me. Now it's just a matter of, do I click Hyper Voice? Do I click Wish? Unfortunately, my light screen does wear off here, so this thing can do a little more damage to me than I would have been able to otherwise. But Wish is my play. I'm going to go for Wish, as I just need to be at maximum health to beat the Latios. I don't want to lose to crits, and Sylveon is just so valuable against this team. He can't really take advantage of it at all, given what he has left. So my play is to just click Wish here, and that's what I'll do. As let's see what he decides to go for. I anticipate him going for a Psyshock, but he actually switches. What's he switching into? He goes into Maribel. What? That would have died, huh? Okay, well, So maybe he is Wish Protect? Did he expect me to go for Wish there? There's no way. There's no way. I guess he was sacking it? Man, Sylveon just wins if he sacks that, though. Don't know about that play. Okay, well, my play is still Hyper Voice. Like, keep the pressure on him. Let's just keep it flying. Hyper Voice is just doing so much work to his team. If he has Wish Protect, he has to go for it on this sequence. If he doesn't have Wish Protect, he's down. Like, he has no chance if he doesn't have Wish Protect unless he crits me with Meloetta and Latios. That's the only way he can take out Sylveon. I think Sylveon might just clean, actually. Yeah, like, I don't see any way he can pull this out if he's not Wish Protect. So, I guess we'll see what he is. These sets are kind of odd, you know. Not seeing Breloom for one was kind of strange, in my opinion. Potentially non-protect Clefable with a Wish and Magic Guard against my team is even stranger, in my opinion. He definitely could have benefited from Unaware. Well, you know, obviously not given what actually occurred in this battle, but Unaware would have been nice for the Superior. But I guess this is what happens. So, I guess we'll see what he decides to do. Here, I anticipate he'll go for Wish. Like, he's gonna stay in and go for Wish. He can't switch. Like, if he switches into Meloetta and takes Rocks damage plus Hyper Voice, he's not gonna survive the second one, and I can just Wish up in his face again. So, you know, I guess we'll just see what he decides to do. I don't know. If he wants to Wish Pass into Meloetta again, that's fine, but that means Clef is gone, because everything on my team outspeeds and can KO it from the range it's at. If it takes another Hyper Voice here, so I guess we'll see what he decides to do, but it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good for us. I don't really see a way that we can lose this unless he gets insane amount of hacks, but, you know, I can't take that for granted, because it happens. It does happen. As he does switch, okay, so he doesn't go for the Wish either. He goes into Mimi, which is the, Melo? Yeah, it's the Meloetta, so that's going to take Rocks and Hyper Voice. I guess he... I don't understand that play either. I guess he was predicting to switch into Politoed. I think he was predicting to switch into Politoed. I don't really see another reason why he'd make that play. But we're just gonna Wish again, right? We're just gonna Wish. Like, I have no reason not to, honestly. This is pretty trivial now, I think, at this point, because unless he gets off a Wish Protect with Clefable, this is over. There's no way he can come back unless he's Wish Protect. I keep saying there's no way, but I mean there is a way if he gets the hacks and if he's like King's Rock Latios or something and gets all the flinches, but like it seems very, very unlikely that we're in any sort of danger at this point in the game. So I think we can just go ahead and Wish up here. Yeah, let's Wish. See what he goes for. If he goes into Clef again, then like what? If he goes into Clef, then I'm almost I'm almost convinced that he is not Wish Protect. If he goes into Clef to take the Hyper Voice, then like he's just basically saying I can't beat this Sylveon. So Hyper Voice is the play, and let's just see what he wants to do this time around. You know, I don't know. He doesn't have many options. He's kind of in a bind at the moment. which is, you know, kind of nice for sure. We're in a good spot. We're in a good spot. Okay, so he does switch. Is he going to go into Clef again? Really? Okay, he doesn't have Protect. He does not have Protect on his Clefable. He's sacking it? I don't know. What's he have? He has nothing for the Sylveon. What did he have in the first place? Darm? All he had was Darm, and somewhat Fortress, I guess. Okay, well. I don't think he has Protect. If he has Protect and he switched into Clefable twice, expected my wish, then he is making one of the most lordliest, one of the best plays that I have seen in quite some time. Outside of my good buddy Togavor clicking Earthquake against Air Balloon, Lucario predicting Sylveon, quote unquote. So we are going to go for the Hyper Voice now, and he probably is going to go for Wish. And we do a million. Wow, that was a high roll, I think. We almost took it out. So he goes for the Wish. No surprise there, and I guess now we'll see the moment of truth. Does he have Protect? No Protect means Sylveon cleans, and barring, you know, ridiculous hacks and prep. But yeah, like I don't see another play, honestly. I think I'm just trying to think of different ways that I can possibly lose this game at this point, and they are quite limited. So that's kind of nice, most definitely. But you know, Hyper Voice is my play. I have no reason not to. I haven't seen Protect yet. I feel like he would have gone for it by now. So we are going to click Hyper Voice, and let's see what he's got. Okay, so let's see what he wants to do. He withdraws. This man does not have Protect on his Clefable. All right, so we win with Sylveon. I'm pretty confident we win. Let's just take out this Rotom. If he's Fizz Dev, I don't think he can take this hit. I really don't think he can take this hit. Let's go. Kill it. Ah, not bad. Oh. Well, we crit it. I don't think that mattered. If it's a Spidef Rotom, then it did. But if it's Fizdef, Rotom doesn't really take Hyper Voices that well. It does like 40% usually, and that's at level 100. So it's usually, you know, up a little bit from there at level 50. So I don't think that mattered. But if it did, I do apologize. I hate having getting kills that way. But Sylveon put in the work there. He put forth the effort to get the critical hit in that game, or on that turn. So that's pretty awesome for sure. So from here, he can go into his Clef. He could go into Lottie. He probably should go into Lottie. I think his play. No. Like if he's King's Rock Lottie, that would be his play. I don't think he's King's Rock. That's pretty obscure. He could be. What else could he do? Roselli Berry, Dragon Dance. Yeah, he could be Roselli Berry, Dragon Dance, Lottie with Dragon Dance, Roselli Berry with Zen Headbutt, flinch me down with Zen Headbutts. That's an option, most definitely. If he has that, that would probably be his play here. I'm not really seeing much else. He goes into Maribel, so he goes into Clef, I guess trying to win the speed tie. But my friend, this is no speed tie. I am indeed speed creeping you. There's a reason I've been outspeeding you every single turn, and we're just going to go ahead and remove the Clefable from existence right now. And yeah, that's what I thought. So goodbye, Clefable. That was probably a zero investment in speed Clefable, probably still 31 IVs, but he probably thought it was a speed tie, so that's a respectable play on his part. He needed to get up the Wish and try to pass it to Meloetta to have any chance, but that's just not going to be the case here, as I was speed creeping the Clefable. So he has Meloetta and Latios left, and I mean, his play is probably Lottie. He probably wants to go to Lottie here, right? I'd go Lottie. I mean, now or never, right? Look, Lottie is the only thing that could possibly win the game for you right now, so you need to go Lottie. And if you're Dragon Dance Roselli Berry, you gotta click that Dragon Dance and click that Zen Headbutt and hope you flinch me down. But that's all I'm really seeing that you can do. I can still go Scizor, though. If he's, yeah, the thing is, if he's Dragon Dance, then he has to have a lot of physical attack to be able to take out my Sylveon with 2 hits. So, okay, he goes Meloetta. I'm just going to kill this too. But, yeah, if he's Dragon Dance, then he probably can't have much investment in special attack, meaning if he has Hidden Power Fire coverage for Scizor, he probably can't beat my max HP Scizor. I have, like, no Spidef on it, but it doesn't matter, because I should be able to eat it up regardless, and I don't have Bullet Punch, unfortunately, but I do have U-Turn, so I should be able to beat the Latios with my Scizor regardless here. So I think we're in checkmate now. I don't really think there's anything he can really do, as I do put up get up the wish here, of course, first, as I want to beat maximum health for the Latios, but then I'm just going to finish it off with a Hyper Voice. Then it's essentially trivial versus the Latios. I just stay in and spam Hyper Voice against the Latios, and I should be able to win out 1v1 unless I get flinched down with a bunch of just random crap. But we'll just kind of see what happens as Sylveon picks up the 3rd kill of the match against the Meloetta, so maybe we can get up a clean 4 with this, as I get a ton of health back from my wish, which is fantastic. And yeah, so all he has left is the Latios, and let's see if he has some sort of trick up his sleeve. I don't really know. He can't be like a subset and beat me that way, because Hyper Voice goes through sub. He has to be Roselli Berry, or like if he's max HP, non-Roselli Berry, he can actually survive a Hyper Voice. That's something to note. Yeah, he definitely can. But my play is still Hyper Voice. It doesn't matter, as if I get flinched, I get flinched. I've got to go for game now. If he's Life Orb, he will wear himself down into range of Hyper Voice. If he's not Life Orb, then he will wear himself down to a range where I can beat it with the Politoed at the very worst. A Politoed and Scizor both should be able to beat it, so I've got plenty of ways to win this game at this point. It's 5-1. Let's try to make this 5-0. Sylveon, click that Hyper Voice, and let's win this game. Okay, so what's he go for? He goes for Psyshock. Okay, so if he specs and crits me, maybe that'll take me out. I don't know. Whoa! Okay. that was scary. But Life Orb crit did a ton to me. But the Life Orb does put him in range of the Hyper Voice, and we do knock out the Latios. Sylveon picking up 4 kills this game. And, man, if there's... I don't know if there's, like, an MVP race for the Major Pokemon League, but if there is, Sylveon's got to be getting close. He got, like, 3 kills last week against Cypher, and now 4 against Dench this week. So Sylveon putting in the utmost work. Still not quite as powerful as Clefable, in my opinion. But that's beside the point. It was a good game, though, so good game, Dench. It was a good, fun match. You know, I think if you brought Breloom, you might have been in a little bit better of a position, at least in terms of lowering the differential. I did have plenty, you know, in store for the Breloom, but Breloom just exerted so much offensive pressure against my team that I think it would have definitely been beneficial to you, to say the least. But yeah, so that was, you know, fun match. But with that, the Toronto Staraptors have advanced to a 4-3 record, which, wait for it, has moved us into the playoff picture for the Major Pokemon League. So we inherited an 0-2 team with like a minus whatever differential, -7 or something. We are now 4-3 plus 5. We are most definitely in the playoff picture. But let me tell you, this divisional race is really heated, and I really wish I wasn't, you know, I really wish I didn't inherit 2 losses, because I could really benefit from not having those on my record against this league, just because it's really close. Like, there's a lot of teams in my division that have the same record, more or less. So it's definitely going to be a challenge, to say the least, to make sure I can maintain this playoff position. But I am indeed in the playoff picture now, I believe, due to results of the battles this week. So pretty excited about that, most definitely. And we'll see if we can keep this running. Now, update. So for my team, starting next week, we have picked up Wobbuffet. So Wobbuffet joins the roster in exchange for good old Dugtrio. Dugtrio has served me decently well. I really hate Dugtrio, just so you know. It's good as a rocker and memento user, but in terms of trapping things in the format, it's just so easy to run Shed Shell or Sugar Berry. Like, it's just not worth having Dugtrio on your roster, in my opinion, even if it's only worth, like, what, tier 4, tier 5, whatever it is in this league. And I could see Wobbuffet being a lot more useful in my upcoming matchups, and just in general in terms of patching the holes that my team has, as I know I have several holes on this team. But, you know, I'm just gonna try to make do with it, let my battling ability and prep ability take over for the fact that my draft isn't amazing, or at least not as solid as I would like my drafts to be usually. But yeah, so that about wraps this up. Great game, Dench, and looking forward to hearing your side of the commentary. But that said, just a reminder, there is no National Pokeball League upload this week, due to the fact that my opponent Rob is insanely busy this week apparently, so he asked to postpone until the end of the season for that particular match, and I'm fine with that, because I'll be pretty busy here at the end of the week as well. So no NPL this week, but I hope you enjoy this first ever live com. Let me know what you thought of it. Obviously, it's my first one, so I'm going to be a little bit raw, probably. But if you thought it was still entertaining, if you want to see more of this in the future, do let me know. I'll be soon moving into an apartment of my own, and I will be able to do live comms more easily if this is what you guys enjoy. It's also kind of nice, at least I think it will be, that the editing, or basically I don't have to play the game and then follow that up by editing the video or recording a video afterwards, as it's already recorded when I do it live, so that's kind of nice for sure. But yeah, just let me know what you think about it. Definitely leave a like if you enjoyed, please. It definitely helps me out, helps the whole channel out, as we definitely love to see the support, and your support is really what keeps us going with this whole YouTube thing, as it's a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie, doing YouTube's a lot of work, but it's also fun when you get to meet a lot of cool people like I have through playing in draft format, and really that's the best part about this format, is getting to meet all these cool people, like especially these people in the MPL lately. It's been fun to get to know them a little bit and see what they're all about. But I'll quit rambling. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think, and I will see you all next week against the #1 team in the Major Pokemon League, and that's Arabam. So we'll be looking to knock him off next week, most certainly. So see you then. Peace.